here's the art frame. The artist is Mike Becker. Take it from here, Mike.
As artists, we have unique, I would say, insight into the human condition by the nature of our observation of other people, the environment. And as such, we have an ability to kind of sort of think outside of the box, similar to how I think scientists would also look at the world. And maybe between the two, we can bridge a discussion that helps move the leaders, all right, from the 6 sectors of our society, from public, private, nonprofit, faith-based, academic, and media, to engage, collaborate, and move our species towards a greater good.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you Chris Toussaint, an artist, a filmmaker, an editor, who looks, how can I say this, like the narrator in the play Our Town. He goes up onto the mountain and looks down on our town and sees how our town is a part of the greater universe. He is a talented and wonderful artist who fits totally into our mission here of developing social capital using existing resources.
When Lynn approached me about her organization, she mentioned that, you know, there's a artist element and there's a science element, and that's really been my direction all of my life in terms of my films. I do a lot of things that are on the cutting edge of science. Some people might say it's way out on the fringe, but then again, the fringe has been moving closer to the mainstream for 50 years now, so it's not so fringe anymore. We'll dim the lights now and I'll show you this clip.
Almost universally, ancient texts and spiritual traditions suggest that everything in our world is connected in ways perhaps that we're only beginning to understand. This field of energy, this subtle field of energy, is in fact described by Western scientists as a net or a web that creates what they call the underlying fabric of all creation. This field of energy has been here from the very beginning. It is an intelligent field, an intelligence that responds deeply to human emotion. We must feel the feeling as if the prayer has already been answered. And in that feeling, we are speaking to the forces of creation, allowing the world to respond to us, allowing this field, the quantum hologram, the mind of God, to respond to us with what it is that we are feeling within our hearts.
Will do the spiritual matrices performance.
As we witnessed in this short little clip that Chris showed, science now knows that the observer affects what is observed. That's what's great about epigenetics. That's great about where technology is taking us today. These are things that we've known from a long, long time. Things that we've lost since the ancients told us that this was possible. Spiritual matrices. So spirit is the non-physical part of a person or breath. Matrix is something from within or from which something else originates. The womb. So spiritual matrices is the breath of the womb. So I represent us as light beings. Sadness, pain, empty, nest, allow, plan, support, protect, violate, separate, discuss, sever, relate, form, respect, endeavor.
Respond, sustain, reveal, release, create, compassion, transform, peace.
You know, when we speak, our words are so powerful. And so is our silence. And when we use words, we should think about The silence that we are breaking up with our words, are they worthy? Are they making a change? Are they causing transformation for yourself, for your family, for the community, for the world?
This is a time of crisis, and yet the answer is in each one of you, and then what's inside each one of you reaching out and collaborating with like-minded elements in the other. I'm going to ask us to divide into 6 groups: public, private, nonprofit, faith-based, academic, and media groups. Now, every one of you has elements of each of those areas in you. What we want you to see is that you have a hub or a pod of people that you talk to. You're going to ask each other and answer 3 questions. What is our sector's worst pain point or challenge? What are our sector's best resources? And what is our suggested next step to share and leverage with leaders in other sectors? We have 6 breakout groups, and the spokesperson will come back and they will say what your group answered to each of those 3 questions.
So we actually found several pain points. First, we discussed tunnel vision and just the rigidity in terms of thinking and challenge with having a paradigm shift, the lack of interdisciplinary collaboration, as well as looking at problems as given versus redefining our problems.
We felt that being disconnected and a general focus on maximizing profits to a degree that it actually has created potentially a fear-based economy.
Lack of connection. We are becoming a separatist nation, and we wanted to talk about how to bring those together. There's a crisis of identity, also not being consistent. We're finding that a lot of the faith-based churches are starting programs, but they're not continuing.
Our worst issue, of course, is finding money. We have no shortage of needs that we try to meet, but we suffer from a lack of resources.
Anyone who's ever worked for a nonprofit, I mean, we joke about the fact that, you know, when you work for a nonprofit, you're wearing about 40 hats, and you then don't have anyone to then market what you do.
Fear of speaking the truth. A lot of journalists feel that they won't be backed up, so they do not speak the truth. They're fearful of that. Also, the context to grab the public's attention. A lot of negative things are very popular. You put the truth out there, people aren't really gravitating towards that.
In terms of looking at our sector's best resources, academia is wonderful because of all of the research that's involved in academia and sort of, you know, looking into the underlying issues. And also because we are in California, there's just a diversity of populations and interdisciplinary professionals.
What are our sector's best resources? We think in the private sector, ourselves and our ability to creatively problem solve towards that profit that we're looking to achieve, and integrating our needs with the other sectors within educational programs, coming up with alternative means to bring in nonprofits.
Spiritual training, to be able to serve and listen and to be tolerant of others through all sectors. Changing the world through service is what we found as our sector's best resources.
Our best resources, of course, is people who start nonprofits and people who work on them regularly, have a passion for what it is that they do.
Diffusion of innovation, so celebrity endorsements, political endorsements, low-cost equipment. You have a phone, you're good to go. Connecting with different sectors via web all across the globe.
In terms of our suggested next step to leverage with leaders in other sectors, we talked about educating and connecting with other sectors. We talked about moving theory into practice through collaboration. We also talked about connecting with media to attract outside sectors, as well as connecting with nonprofits to collaborate.
First, we must change within ourselves. And if we change within ourselves, we can change our minds. And with that, you can go and empower others and spread that, and it will have a domino effect.
First, it is very important for you and your organization to have a clear definition of what you are promoting. Okay, quick and to the point.
It's our suggested next step to share and leverage with leaders in other sectors. I just touched on that to really show how these sectors are interrelated.
I'd like to introduce Dr. Armati Austin, who's in the audience here today. She is a teacher, a mentor of our medical school students, and she works in collaboration, well, she works at California Hospital and teaches our USC medical students there. And she also is organizing on April 16 another all-day conference that's going to look at alternative and complementary medicine and more of the spiritual issues that we're looking at today. So you're going to be hearing a lot more in the coming few weeks about Dr. Armati Austin's Integrative Health Conference.